Hi, I'm John, and this is Karina San Martin.
What's up, everybody?
And we are here at The Drop.
Yes.
We're dropping truth and bringing life.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to start a new subject, and I love this subject
this is a good
because, man, if you don't live intentionally, then you're going to live by accident.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
So this is a great subject, and it's applicable to your personal life, your relationships, your finances, your spiritual life.
Everything. Yeah.
It's kind of a universal principle that applies to everything in life. So I'm excited about this subject.
Yes. Oh yeah, me too. It's so funny because I think when you really focus on doing things intentionally or on purpose, you know, I think that at first it seems a little bit taxing because you have to really think about what you're trying to achieve, you know, or what you're trying, the next step you're trying to get to. And so then you have to kind of work backwards and say, okay, how do I get there? And, you know, so like for someone like me, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, like that seems like so much more work. But in the end, in the grand scheme, it's like if you don't do that, then you are actually doing more work to try to get to where you want to be because you're not doing it intentionally, you know? So this is a really good topic to grow in and to begin to apply to your life, no matter what level you're at. I would say just as we start talking about these things, just start somewhere. You know, just start somewhere with it.
Because everything that is not attended to, then always gets worse.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's your health, your weight, your spiritual life, your marriage, you know, whatever. So what does it take to be intentional?
Right.
Well, obviously, first you need to know what you need to be intentional about.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like exercise, you know. I need to learn better to be intentional about exercise. So last couple of days I wake up in the morning, I do my thing, my prayers and everything, and then I just walk to my room like a zombie.
Shuffle. It's probably more of a shuffle, right?
Put my bathing suit on and walk out to my pool and just jump in.
Get yourself in there.
And I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah, that's so good.
I just have to do it. And because if I think about it too much, then I won't do it.
Yeah, no,
so,
it's true. It's true.
You know, to be intentional, you got to know what is it that I need to be intentional. And I would suggest you should know why.
Yeah,
why you should do it.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Oh yeah. Why is really big. I know, like. Right now it's summertime, and so in our house that means that, you know, all the kids are home from school.
Everybody's home.
You know, and so there's a lot of things that as the mom at home with all the kids plus working that I have to be a lot more intentional with, or else things just quickly like turn into chaos. And there's one thing that we started recently doing, and it was inspired by my husband. He was like, you need to put them on a laundry schedule. I mean, you have 5 people. Laundry gets nuts, and my husband's so great. He takes care of all his own laundry, which is nice, washes and deals with all of it. So he said, put them on a laundry schedule. You wash this day, you put away this day. Then in 2 or 3 days, you wash this day.
I like it.
So I made like this whole little station in the laundry room with a stool, and I put all the directions because they can all read. And I said, our laundry days are Monday, you wash, you dry, and you can put them away Tuesday. And then on Thursday, you wash, you dry, you can put them away Friday. And this intentional, it's such a small like example, but this intentionality has started to bring me a little bit more peace, but it's also intentionally teaching them how to do laundry, you know? And so...
And cooperate with the family.
Cooperate, and the
We're
why...
a family. Everyone helps out here.
The why is you all take your part.
Yeah.
The why is so mom doesn't go completely insane and burn out, and I'm just constantly doing laundry, and, you know, and so the why is really important.
The why is huge,
also to communicate to them,
exactly.
Hey, like, I'm not going to be doing your laundry forever. Like, you're super capable of doing I mean, I help Leo, but, you know,
well,
so,
he's a little guy.
So this is important, the why.
I love this scripture in 1 Corinthians 10:31, kind of puts it in perspective for me. It says, therefore, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do,
this is good.
do it all to the glory of God. And it has nothing to do with being religious, you know,
Right.
or saying praise the
Yeah.
Lord, you know.
Yeah.
But it's about purpose.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you're going to do, make sure you have a purpose. Make sure there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
make sure that you have honed in on what is it that you need to do.
Yeah.
And I think that
That's good.
we all agree that life is meant to live on purpose with a purpose.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to just float around.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
for
and
sure.
just wake up in the morning and go like, okay.
Whatever comes.
Another Monday.
Oh man, that's so true.
Here we
So
go.
true.
What do I have to do today to
Yeah.
get by?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I am totally there sometimes, you
Yeah.
know, but I think if you get into a lifestyle or a cycle of that, then
Yeah.
you most likely will end up not getting the results with your day.
Yeah.
So then your week, so then
Yeah.
your month, so
Yeah.
then your year, so then
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah,
And you'll be
exactly.
like, I don't like this,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So a day or two of that I think is okay because it's kind of reality sometimes,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But I think definitely not creating a lifestyle of that mindset.
I think a lot of people ask themselves, you know, what is my purpose? You know,
Yeah,
what is
right.
my purpose?
Right.
Why am I even alive? You know, and I think that, you know, you can find your purpose in a lot of different areas, but I think if you're looking for the ultimate purpose of your life,
Right.
then you have to connect with God.
Oh yeah.
Because
definitely.
God is the one that has the greatest explanation of what is the ultimate purpose in your life.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for, you know, regular purpose like in my career or
Yeah.
in my weight or in my health, you know, then you have to hone in on it. You have to take time to think about it,
Yeah,
and
that's
you have to
good.
take time to focus in on it, because
Yeah, definitely.
the issue is that we're not just called to live,
Right.
but we're called to lead our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's a big difference between just living
Yeah, that's good.
and leading our lives. And I think that is where you and I and everyone else will maximize
Yeah.
the potential
Yeah.
that we have to be able to do something wonderful with our lives.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think too that, you know, if you are just living like every day today and just kind of taking it as it comes,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to just not be overwhelmed with life, you
Yeah.
know. And I notice it happens to me sometimes, and then I notice with other people too. It's like when you're in that status of just living each day, it's like all you can do is put out the biggest fire in front of you, you know.
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
just dealing with that, and once you deal with that, you're like, okay, where's the next fire?
Sure.
And I think it even takes a toll, like mentally on people,
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
like almost feeling like out of control of their lives.
course,
Like
yeah.
I literally am feeling like I am not controlling my life.
It's called crisis management.
Yeah, exactly. Like my life is controlling me. Okay, I deal with
Right.
this. Okay, what's the next thing? Okay, I deal with this.
This
you know?
happened, I deal with that. That happened, I deal with that.
Exactly. Instead
Yeah.
of the opposite, which is what you just
Exactly.
said, is leading your life and saying, okay,
Yeah.
you know, yes, there's these things. So how do I want to deal with it?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, how can I lead my life so that I'm not just putting out
Right.
fires, so that I stop them before they even start?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I often said, and I'm sure you've heard me say that you have to have a deeper yes to be able to say no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And oftentimes, because we don't hone in on what is the greatest purpose or greater purpose in our life, then we lack that deeper yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
so we get distracted by things that happen. You know, oh, this broke down, boy, I got to drop everything and attend to that. Or this happened, man, I got to stop doing this, now I got to attend to
Right,
that. So
right, yeah.
we become reactionary instead of
Yeah.
leading our lives. And I think that, you know, when you say, okay, this is what I'm about, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, when other things happen, you are able to say, I got to take care of that, but not right now.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
going to take care of this. Of
Yeah.
course, unless it's an emergency,
Yeah,
you know, your
right.
kid's bleeding in the street, then
Yeah.
you're going to stop what you're doing.
Not on the priority list today.
I'm
It's
sorry,
not on
you're
my
gonna
list.
wait.
Yeah. Check back tomorrow. Yeah, no, of course.
So there's a difference, big difference between just living our lives
Yeah.
and leading our lives.
Yeah.
And so some of the difference is that when you're just living, you're just kind of going with the punches. You're not giving your life very much thought. You know, you're not honed in on direction.
Right.
You're not honed in on even strategy. You know, I got to do this to be able to do that.
Right.
So it's kind of like you're letting life happen to you. You know,
right.
versus having a life that is led. That's a complete different. You want to cover that?
Yeah. I think when you begin to understand this switch of mindset and you say, okay, I want to lead my life, you know, I think that it is important to take ownership for your day. I think sometimes like it can seem overwhelming, you know, like if you think like, okay, this is where I want to be, you're like, oh my gosh, like it's going to take me forever to get there. Okay, well, like just take ownership of that day and say, what do I want my day to look like? And how is that going to help me get to B, you know, or C?
I go next.
You know, if it is, then yes. If not, let me adjust. So taking ownership of your day and having a plan for growth in whatever areas you need to grow in or you want to grow in. Because if you don't lead yourself and if you're not intentional with those things, then life will just happen and you won't make life happen.
Dr. Ed Cole, my spiritual father, used to say, don't let anybody create your world.
Yeah, that's so good.
Because they will always create it too small.
Yeah, you told us that growing up.
In other words, you've got to plan your life.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to get somewhere, then you have to take ownership to be able to lead your life. And I think a lot of people need to learn how to do a growth plan, you know, because to them, it's kind of like, well, I finished school, I'm done. Hallelujah.
Oh.
I'm done reading, I'm done growing. Now I'm just going to live my life, you know.
Right.
And somebody else said, you can only cruise going downhill.
Yeah. This is very true. Very true.
You know, so I think you need a growth plan. And, you know, if you don't know what a growth plan is basically a step of things that you're going to do to help you increase your knowledge and your understanding concerning the area where you want to work on. I mean, how would you put it?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, what are some examples of how to create a growth plan? I think honestly for me, you know, and as I was looking through this, like the topic for today, I was like, man, I need to be better at this with certain areas of my life that I want to achieve, but I need to be more intentional, you know? And so I think like, for me, my first step would be, okay, what is the main thing that I want to be intentional with?
Identify that.
Yeah, identifying what it is.
Yeah.
Then identifying in my mind maybe how long, a timeline of how long it might take me to achieve what I want to achieve. And then work backwards and say, okay, like, you know, if I want to, at the end of the year, have this established, okay, let me work backwards. I got 6 months left to the year.
Yeah, exactly.
What, we only have 5 months, right? It's July?
Yeah, July. Yeah, July. August is coming up.
So 4 or 5 months left of the year. Okay, what can I do with those couple of months? Okay, so what does that mean per week? What do I need to do? What is my little mini goals? So I think you have to have the end in mind and then work backwards.
There you go.
And set big goals and then set those mini goals to achieve that big goal, and that's how I would do it.
Yeah, some of the practical side of it is like, for example, for me would be I want to read certain books about certain subject, you know, to learn in terms of knowledge and information, and then I want to maybe set up like a list of things that I'm going to practice as a result of what I've learned from reading these books.
That's
you know,
good, yeah.
And then I'm going to hope to achieve certain results. So you know, reading is important. Hanging out with people that can sharpen you should be part of your plan.
That's really
good.
You
know, going to seminars or workshops or conferences.
Or nowadays, like YouTube is such a huge resource.
There's so much available
for like things you want to learn how to do, or advice, or like, I mean, obviously make sure it's from someone that like
credible, reliable.
Because there's not everything's
Sure.
true on YouTube.
That's
you know?
right.
But that's a big resource
Yeah,
too.
oh my, that's
I mean,
a huge one.
Learning how to do stuff
Yeah,
online. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
I think
good. Those are really good.
part of having a growth plan is just the practical stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
that's
going to
good.
help you to move in that direction.
Exactly.
Another
That's
good thing
good.
about a growth plan is that it shows you and it tells you when you're not moving in that direction.
Yeah, that's
It-
really
it-
good.
it
You have
lets
to
you-
like evaluate yourself against the growth plan,
Yeah.
or else you may or may not be
It
growing.
lets you know, it lets
Yeah.
you know, like, okay, wait a minute, we haven't done any of this.
Yeah,
I don't
so-
think I'm really growing.
I'm not tracking here. That's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
But another good sign, if you're growing, that means you're changing.
I was just gonna.
And
yeah.
if you're growing, that means you can't continue to circle around the same mountain year
Yeah.
after year after year.
I was just gonna say, I think too, an evaluation is because when you grow, I do think there's always growing pains.
Sure.
You know, there's
yeah.
things that you have to do that might be uncomfortable because obviously you haven't done them before.
Yeah.
You know, you've just stayed in a comfortable state, and so it might not always be fun. But if it is something that you want to be intentional with, you have to remind yourself, like, okay, this is worth it.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
may not feel great at the
Sure.
moment. It may be
Exactly.
difficult. It may mean I have to let go of this
Yeah.
so that I can do
Yeah.
this.
Mhm.
You know, and maybe that's hard, but
Yeah.
I think that it's okay to realize that being intentional and growing intentionally, that there might be growing pains too.
Yeah. And I think to balance that out is doing nothing is going to get you nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's
so
very true.
it's
Yeah.
like if you want a better marriage, you got to work at it. You got to
Yeah.
have a plan. You got to work on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do nothing, then it's going to get you nowhere.
Yeah.
And I think that might be enough motivation for some people to say, well, I'm going to endure the
Yeah.
difficulties or
Yeah.
the challenges
That's
to
good.
be
That's
able
good.
to, get to where we want to go.
Yeah,
Because
that's really good.
once you get there, there's joy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
excitement, fulfillment,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. But somebody else said, life always demands the price in advance. So you got to pay the price first.
Yeah.
So you got to do the homework. You got to read the book. You
That's
got to
true,
do
yeah.
your due diligence.
Yeah.
You know, you got to pay your price. You have to pay the price in advance.
Yeah, and I think especially like in our cultural mindset here in America,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people struggle with that when
Yeah.
it comes to being intentional and growing and achieving things, because
Yeah.
for the most part, we've all had a pretty
Yeah.
easy life.
We live in a culture
Yeah.
where everything should be easy.
Right, you know, like there's a lot more struggle in a lot of other countries than there
Yeah.
are here, just
yeah.
growing up. Even if you did grow up with not a lot,
Sure.
you still had it better than some people and
Than
other
most people
Yeah,
around
and
the
so
world.
I think there's this mindset of like, I try it didn't work once, or it's not easy, I'm done. You know, and I think if we can push past that, like
Yeah.
you said, the reward of being intentional, of even evaluating your growth.
Right.
It is rewarding no matter how hard you have to
Totally,
push
totally.
through certain things. Yeah.
Well, it kind of reminds me of a couple in general, that doesn't really want to work at their marriage. They want the other person to fix things.
They're waiting for the other person.
But they don't,
Yeah, right.
And it's like, and they're both stubborn, and
they're
don't
both
want,
waiting.
Yeah, they both don't want to, make any changes,
Right,
and
right.
then you realize, well, what do you expect?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you're not gonna have the kind of marriage you want if you're not willing to do the work.
Yeah.
And so some people prefer to get divorced than to do the work.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
but here's what happens. 75% of the people that get divorced the second time. Because they weren't willing
Wow.
to put in the work.
Yeah.
It's not the other person, it's you
Right.
that needs to change.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And when you realize, okay, do I want the joy of a happy relationship, a fulfilling relationship?
Yeah.
Then I'm
That's good.
going to have to put in the work ahead of time.
That's really good.
You know,
yeah.
life demands payment ahead of time, not afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, when I get to that, then I'm gonna read.
Yeah.
No. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't get your degree before you take the classes.
Yeah. I'm going to read and do the work to get to
Right.
blank. Yeah.
So anyhow, so it's about living a life of purpose on purpose.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
love that.
getting up and saying, this is where I'm going, so this is what I need to do today.
That's good.
So
That's
we're
good.
called to make a difference.
Yeah.
And we're not just called to live our lives, but we're called to lead our lives.
That's right.
So
yeah.
hopefully we've given you some pointers, some
Yeah.
things to talk about.
Good. This is
think
good for
about,
me.
you know, a little bit about what does it take
Right,
to live
yeah.
a life intentional. And I think that you're going to see this series is going to set you up for some real progress
Love it.
and for some real advantages in your life. So hope to see you on the next episode on the Drop.
Yep.
And thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you
See you.
on the next one.
See you next week.